We're going to listen to the mayor of Paris, Anne Hidalgo.
Of the Senate, François Hollande, Roberta Metsola, ladies and gentlemen, ministers, ambassadors, our graded officials, parliamentarians, elected officials, mayors of our Paris arrondissement, local council members, to the Speaker of 13, 15, 11, Philippe de Perron, Life for Paris President, Arthur de Nouveau, ladies and gentlemen, families, survivors, ladies and gentlemen. 2015 will forevermore remain in our memories. It started quite tragically in January with the attacks on Charlie Hebdo, hyper-cacher hostage crisis, and Sergent Philippe. And yet no one could have ever imagined that just a few months later our country, our city, would be once again hit in the very heart by terrorists. And 10 years later, for all of us, for myself, it feels just like yesterday. And just like you, I remember everything, the voices, the cries, the sirens, the silence that followed. I remember the feel of terror and shock. Paris had just entered one of the darkest nights of its history. The day itself had started out quite well. It was a Friday, sunny. The weather was quite clement. There was a sense of lightness in the air. We were just preparing for the COP 2021, for the future of the climate, for the future of the planet. French men and women were about to see their favored national team facing off in the Stade de France. Parisians were out in terrace dining areas, thinking that the summer was renewed once again. And then all of a sudden, the clouds came rolling in. For most of us, we had only ever felt times of peace. We had been spared of most of the great violence that had befallen our planet. And yet, they chose to hit us right at the heart of what we were, our joy of living, this desire to celebrate. Our outdoor terraces, the areas that we love so fondly in Paris, music and sport. This is what they targeted. That night, the global youth were enjoying our taste for life. And yet that night, they targeted Paris, they targeted democracy. They see terror in our streets. The City of Lights, which is the place where we had learned to live together as brothers and sisters. The City of Light was wounded deeply in its flesh, in its heart, a cosmopolitan city who thrives from that which makes it different. A city of philosophers, of workers, where one of all 4 citizens is born abroad. But that night, the terrorists, they shot down young people simply because they were out having a drink, because they were celebrating a birthday, because they were out for a concert. Paris was deeply wounded, 132 wounded, hundreds of wounded, and thousands of people who were left scarred forevermore. They started with the Stade de France, Le Carillon, Petite Cambodge, La Bonne Bière, Casa Nostra, La Belle Équipe, the Comptoir Voltaire, and lastly, Bataclan. I immediately went down to be close to Michel Cadot, the Chief of Police, and François Molins, to be with exceptional men and women who were united against the worst. I saw those men and women who had to handle the situation, the policemen, the BRI fighters, the Red Cross, first responders, waiters, neighbors, concierges, people who would open their doors to save lives, to help, hold out a helping hand. They faced horror, whether they were wearing a uniform or not, with the same form of courage that pays a great tribute to our nation, to our city. And it is up to us to now pay homage to them. On that night, our state stood strong. With you, François Hollande, Manuel Valls, Bernard Cazeneuve. The mayors of our local arrondissement also were there. Rémi Ferraud, François Vauglin for the 10th and 11th arrondissement. A sacred bond between a city and all of those people who live in it. A sacred bond brought together by the French nation. Paris was wounded but stood strong. Wounded, it found a way to get back up on its own 2 feet. The following day, the sky was grey, there was a heavy air. People looking for their loved ones, going to emergency wards, hospitals, and while medical staff were doing their utmost to help. People helping those who needed to speak, who needed to cry. And then came Sunday, and with a very slight ray of sunlight, Parisian men and women, true to their history, took to the streets, took to the cafes. They went out with their families, with their children, with their friends. They lit candles, they laid flowers in the street, they went walking through the streets as if a peaceful insurrection were taking place. One word to bind them all: resist. Resist together. A way of showing the world that we are not afraid. We will continue to live freely and happily. We will continue to drink outdoors. We will continue to dance and listen to music. We will continue to party. We will continue to do what we want when we want. It was our way of saying that we continue to live in happiness in light of our differences, under one flag, remembering the dead, remembering life torn away from them. And yet that night, it remains in our memories as if it had never ended, given a new desire, a new humanist push, one of fraternity. As Victor Hugo once said, Paris is a city that sows seeds. It sows sparks of light. So yes, Paris was struck deep, but it grew because of its values. It grew because of the strength of the men and women who live in it. One of law, justice and memory. With the trial that took place, it was done with the true dignity. The state and the rule of law came forward with a response to chaos and fear, as is the want of any democracy. I would like to share a special word for victim associations, for everything that you have done, your unfailing support, for everything that we have been trying to do. Georges Saline, Caroline Danglade, Arthur Deneuve, Philippe Duperron. And with you and your associations, and all of you have helped. Thank you. You have created bonds of solidarity between all families, survivors, with government institutions. You found a way to bring life despite mourning, to create a space of hope here in the town hall, which was a home for all. Nothing will ever erase the horror of what took place that night, nor the pain of those who survived. Many of you over the years had to learn to love again, learn to stand again, learn to live again. and I pay homage to your courage and strength. France did not give in to hatred. Paris did not give in to fear. Our outdoor terraces are full once again, full of laughter. Our city has changed. Through trial, we have found a new strength. We have found ways to bring in new people, to build, to rebuild, to live, to love, to discuss, to fight. But to understand, COP21 took place as a promise for the future. It was our answer to barbarism. The whole world met in Paris to say together, we are committed to life. We are committed to future generations. And in 2024, once again, the entire world came to Paris. And you, Emmanuel Macron, you saw France and Paris working together, hand in hand, as the capital city and the rest of the nation working together for the Olympic and Paralympic Games. It was an exceptional time where we saw universal brotherhood, despite the world which was so hard hit by crisis and war. But this garden is a garden that was designed with all of the victims' associations. It is a symbol of our city, one which stays true to the motto of Paris, Fluctuac, nec mergetur. It is our guiding star. It is a beacon of light in a dark ocean. It is a way of showing that we will resist. Paris is a city of freedom, one of many languages, of many beliefs, one who will stand up against barbarism. And once again, as Victor Hugo said, coming out of exile, following the proclamation of the French Republic, he said, "The soul of Paris is here." To save Paris is more than just saving France, it is saving the world. Paris is a sacred city. Whoever attacks Paris attacks all of humanity. And he concluded by saying, through fraternity, we will save liberty. So we will not sink. To the 130 men and women whose names are here graved in to the stone, to all of the survivors, to all of their families, to those men and women who speak on our behalf, those men and women who are heroes, who saved, who cured, who healed. Paris will always remain in your debt. You will remain in Paris's heart, here in this garden. Emmanuel Macron, more than ever, we will remain united. Long live the French Republic, long live France, long live Paris.